Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
Just loving you.
Alrighty. 9:02, welcome into this Tuesday morning. CJ Nasello, it's our daily show, RiverBender.com. We got a good one for you. A little bit different today. Just going to be honest with all of us. We're all friends here. I'm going to tell you this. For the first time in a year, I am just not feeling good at all. And got in here early and already had to leave work once today, coming back in. So we're going to have one conversation today and then going to do a little bit of a hybrid show in the 10 o'clock hour. But I always want to make sure that we bring you the latest news because some very important news broke yesterday on so many different different avenues within the Riverbend region. Wanted to make sure we got those out to you. Wanted to make sure we promoted the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council and made sure that we still did a live show because that's our commitment Monday through Friday from 9 to 11. At 9:03, here's what's happening around the Riverbend. Make sure you sign up for your daily email update where you can join myself and you can join 70,000 people in the know each and every day of the work week and on Saturdays with Around the Riverbend. We'll take you to Alton first. Alton officials held off on changing the city's map of dispensary zones on Monday after a Terrace dispensary representative accused them of, quote, gerrymandering, end quote, the map to benefit their competitor, the Alton dispensary. Dalton Brown has this story. The Alton City Code currently divides the city into two dispensary zones, Zone 1 in the north and Zone 2 in the south, and allows each zone to have one dispensary at a time. The Terrace representative claimed city officials have carved out a portion of Zone 2 in the southeastern portion of the new map, absorbing it into Zone 1 so that the Alton dispensary can follow through with their plans to reopen in a former bank building in the area. The Terrace representative admitted multiple times that his client has a direct business interest in the amendment's passage or its failure. However, he did not mention the link between Terrace and Sub-Zero Alton Ops, LLC, the Alton Dispensary's former management company, which was accused in a lawsuit with misappropriating $1.8 million in Alton dispensary funds, launching cyber attacks against them, and more in retaliation for terminating their contract with Sub-Zero. Those are the allegations. Documents filed with the Illinois Secretary of State list David Ruskin of Chicago as the registered agent for both Sub-Zero Alton Ops LLC and Emerald Coast LLC, the latter of which operates under the active assumed name Terrace Cannabis Alton and Terrace Alton. The Alton dispensary was originally located at 1400 East Broadway, the same building Terrace currently occupies. Illinois Cannabis 49, doing business as the Alton dispensary president, Jeremy Wazowski, said Sub-Zero RE LLC, which also lists Ruskin as its registered agent, evicted them from that building. The Alton dispensary has since announced their next location at a former First Mid-America Credit Union facility at 3401 East Broadway. The Terrace representative said the city's original map had been drawn with great care to ensure both the northern and southern zones would benefit from increased tax revenues. He said the newly proposed map is not only unfair to the city's north side, but also to Terrace, which wasn't expecting to compete with any other dispensaries in the immediate area. Here's his statement. Terrace has worked closely with the city down to the smallest detail to ensure that we are compliant with everything, with the belief and understanding that we would be the one only operating dispensary within this southern zone. When I look at what is, and I hate to use this term, appears to be gerrymandering almost effectively, we are cutting out a very, very, very small portion of the southeastern portion of what used to be Zone 2 and now making it a part of Zone 1. That's his quote, word for word. He also claimed the amendment would add, quote, competition to an area that was not initially intended for it, referring to downtown Alton, an area where multiple businesses competing in close proximity. Beyond the city's downtown, he said it would render the northern part of Zone 1 usable for another dispensary. He also accused Wazowski, who was working to open the Village dispensary in Godfrey in the former Woody's Chicken building, of, quote, taking away competitive tax bases in the northern zone and asking the city to, quote, gerrymander him in a new place, end quote, in the southern zone in what he believes is an attempt to monopolize the city's tax base. When the amendment came to vote at the Committee of the Whole, Alderman Strabel moved to lay the item over. His motion was seconded, and the item did, in fact, lay over. A recording of the Committee of the Whole meeting is available at RiverBender.com/video underneath the government section. Dalton Brown also reporting out of Alton. A 5-page Alton Police Department memo released on Friday detailed 2 years' worth of nicotine sales to minors and several other crimes, which reportedly occurred at Studio 420, located at 1104 East Broadway in Alton and owned by Zach Yinger. The memo, dated July 19, 2023, and addressed to Alton Police Chief Jarrett Ford, was written by Lieutenant Dustin Christner, Chief of Detectives with the Alton Police Department. Christner begins the memo by stating the issue of Studio 420 selling nicotine products to minors, and, quote, became so blatant and prevalent, end quote, that Alton School District Superintendent Christy Bumgardner requested a meeting with him to address her concerns. Parents have complained about Studio 420, and the schools are being inundated with vaping products being brought to schools by students, Christner states in a memo. In addition, our department has countless phone calls from concerned parents asking for our assistance in preventing Studio 420 from continuing their illegal operation. Christner goes on to describe, quote, numerous information reports on file regarding the sale of nicotine products to minors at Studio 420, which included several tobacco compliance check violations and other, quote, ongoing issues regarding Studio 420, end quote. In the memo's conclusion, Christner said Studio 420 has failed every tobacco compliance check conducted from 2021 to 2023, including one conducted by the FDA Tobacco Inspection Program in April of 2023. The memo lists several Alton Police Department cases with detail of various crimes committed at Studio 420. In 2 cases that did occur on October the 20th, 2021, minors assisting officers with an investigation walked into Studio 420 and were both able to purchase Hyde In-Bar brand vape pens containing nicotine. Both minors provided officers receipts of their transactions. It was determined that the 2 different Studio 420 employees, quote, did not ask for identification prior to selling to the minor the aforementioned tobacco product. The city ordinance citation were issued. In 3 similar cases in August 2022, 3 minors assisting officers were able to purchase multiple brands of vape pens containing nicotine, including brands such as Hyde, Hyde Edge Rave, and Air. In all 3 cases, employees failed to ask any minor of identification prior to selling the nicotine products. City ordinance citations were issued in all 3 cases. On June the 16th, 2023, another minor assisting the Alton Police Department purchased Lost Mary and Elf Bar vape pens sold to them by a cashier. Reporting officers, quote, did not observe any signage inside the business notifying patrons of the legal age to purchase nicotine products, and a citation was issued for those violations. In another case, an individual reported that his daughter and nephew, both of whom were under 21 at the time, were sold vape products from Studio 420. Staff members of Studio 420 claimed they do ask for ID cards to purchase any product they sell. Another individual reported hearing from students at Jerseyville High School that minors are purchasing vapes from Studio 420. Christner advised them the department had received previous reports of this activity and action will be taken. after one parent found a half-used bottle of vape juice in his residence, which he said 3 minors, including his nephew and son, had purchased from Studio 420. He wanted the Alton police to be aware of Studio 420 selling products to minors. One of the minors was also willing to, quote, be a decoy in a sting operation. Another parent anonymously reported to the police that she followed her 17-year-old daughter into Studio 420, where she observed, quote, a large number of high school-age subjects in the business, end quote. The information reportedly forwarded to, quote, all patrol officers, the Criminal Investigation Division, and school resource officers for possible follow-up and compliance checks. One parent called Studio 420 to question their ID verification procedures after she discovered a vape in her son's possession, which he admitted to purchasing from the business. An unknown Studio 420 employee told the parent that they check IDs and, quote, do not sell to juveniles, and then requested her son's name and claimed he would be added to a no-sell list. Her son later received an odd message and phone calls from people he does not know following the incident. Apart from several documented instances of selling nicotine products to minors, Studio 420 also has seen a wide range of other crimes committed on their premises, including mob action and more, according to this memo. This is a long report, but it is in its entirety, and I wanted to read it to you. In the case of mob action, officers responded to an employee's report of a female being, quote, struck, end quote, by a male inside Studio 420. She reportedly didn't see who punched her, but claimed the only thing she remembered hearing was a male asking her, what's up, end quote, before punching her in the face. Another individual reported that he and 3 of his friends were inside the store when 4 to 10 individuals entered and began hitting him several times in the torso. The individual added, quote, he was knocked to the ground and one of the males stole his black Nike brand fanny pack that contained $250 in U.S. currency. He claimed to not know any of the males involved, but video surveillance confirmed the attack. 4 total suspects were identified, with 2 charged as adults, 2 charged as juveniles. In one case, Yinger told officers he believed the suspect of an aggravated discharge of a firearm case was inside Studio 420 earlier that night with a handgun. An employee allegedly saw one of the suspects pull a black handgun out of their waistband and show it to him. The person did not notify police the suspect was inside the building with a handgun. Shortly after the suspect left, the employee reportedly heard gunshots. According to the memo, investigations revealed that a house was struck by gunfire. An adult charged with aggravated discharge of a firearm. Video available of suspect inside the business with handgun prior to shooting, end quote. An individual who in the memo states, quote, used to be in a relationship with Zachariah Yinger claimed Yinger lied about his income when applying for the PPP loan when he purchased a residence in Godfrey. She could not remember the specific details, but believed he reported to the program that his business, being 9 storefronts in total, do not generate any net income. She also included the businesses are all cash only or do not accept credit cards or debit cards to complete purchases. So Yinger can also lie about income made at those businesses. This is this individual's account in this memo. As a result, she believes Yinger was lying to the IRS about his income as well. Additionally, in regards to his employees' tax forms or W-2s, the business names on their W-2s do not match that of the businesses where they are employed, which she believes is also, quote, suspicious. She also said Yinger's employees are instructed to serve to suspected minors, adding Yinger frequently warns them when he observes officers in the area of his business, and he is able to view the surrounding area from his apartment above the establishment. Amy Devine, program coordinator for the FDA Tobacco Inspection Program through the Illinois Department of Human Services, said the program has investigated Studio 420 and found them continuously selling tobacco products to minors. Studio 420 has reportedly entered the civil money penalty phase where they are assessed a fine by the FDA. The latest decision against Studio 420 on April the 5th and future violations will increase the fines that are levied, they will continue to go back until Studio 420 complies by not selling tobacco products to minors. Eventually, the FDA may issue a no-sale tobacco order, but that takes a long time, and they are not yet close to that level at this time. Christner wrote in his memo that fines alone have failed to stop Studio 420 from selling to minors. Here's his statement in the memo. Numerous parents from the community, in addition to the Alton School District Superintendent, have voiced concerns over illegal actions of Studio 420 and the harmful, addictive products they are putting in the hands of our area youth. Well, while fines have been levied, it does not appear that fines are deterring Studio 420 from continuing to sell products of tobacco to minors. While Christner deferred to Chief Ford's judgment, he recommended that actions beyond fines should be considered to keep the youth of our community safe from the predatory and harmful tactics of Studio 420. That's directly pulled from the memo. And the end of that quote. Alton City Treasurer Cameo Holland currently has the authority to begin the process of suspending a business license. Holland can be reached at 618-463-3450 or by email at cholland, CHOLLAND, at cityofaltonil.gov. Out of yesterday's tragic news story, Madison County Coroner Stephen Pinon has identified the two victims in that tragic car crash that happened on the 7th of April on Highway 159 south of Route 140, Fort Russell Township, Illinois. Dan Brannon brings us this story. Victim number 1 is identified as Dolores A. Long, 91, of St. Louis. The coroner said Long was operating a Nissan 2006 Sentra. For unknown reasons, Long's vehicle traveled into the path of a 2019 Dodge Caravan, hitting the second vehicle head-on. Long was pronounced deceased at the scene by Madison County Coroner Office investigator Sakina Werner at 1:50 p.m. Victim number 2, identified as Julie Schroeder, 63, of Bloomingdale, Illinois. Schroeder was the left rear restrained passenger of the 2019 Dodge Caravan. She was transported from the scene to the Alton Memorial Hospital emergency room by Alton Memorial Ambulance Service. Schroeder, pronounced deceased by emergency room physicians at 2:20 p.m. on the 7th of April. Schroeder's cause of death is from blunt head, chest, and abdomen trauma. A final cause of death will be issued upon completion of a routine drug and alcohol testing. Funeral arrangements are pending at this time. The cause of the crash does currently remain under investigation by ISP Crash Reconstruction Unit and the Madison County Coroner's Office. The Office of the Coroner, along with RiverBender.com, would like to extend its deepest sympathies to all involved in this very tragic accident. At 9:19, we got to keep moving on this Tuesday morning, so let's take a quick check at weather. It's 60 degrees. It feels like 65 out there. Today, mostly cloudy. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy as well. Temperatures should reach 70 today, drop down to 50 overnight. On Wednesday, a high of 62, a low of 49, and 90% chance we're getting a downpour. On Thursday, a high of 57, a low of 46, and a 91% chance that we're getting some rain. On Friday, the 12th of April, a high of 65, a low of 43, and on Saturday, the 13th, a high of 76. How about that? A low of 56. For time and temperature throughout the day, 618-465-4545, this time powered by Bounce Back. Rehab, recover, return home. Hey, quick question for you. Will your child be 5 on or before the 1st of September? If so, all incoming kindergartners are welcome for kindergarten enrollment at Alton Community Unit School District number 11. At the kindergarten enrollment, you're going to take a pre-K, well, not you, your child will take a pre-K assessment. You're going to meet the teachers, tour the school, have a snack, take a bus ride, and even a photo with the Red Bird. It is also welcome to students currently enrolled in early childhood and Head Start. Here are the dates and times by school. Lovejoy Elementary School, Monday, April the 22nd, 3:30 to 7 p.m. Eunice Smith, Tuesday, April 23rd, 3:30 to 7 p.m. Lewis and Clark, Wednesday, April the 24th. Gilson Brown, Thursday, April the 25th, all times 3:30 to 7 p.m. For kindergarten enrollment. You can learn more information by clicking on the RiverBender.com wallpaper or by calling 618-474-2600 to get your little one on and ready for school. Isn't that wild? Growing up so fast. Let's take a look at Skycam. We'll be back with our spotlight on the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council next.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you've worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
In the heart-pounding moments of the game, every move counts, just like in chiropractic care. Dr. Andrew Dykman of Rosewood Chiropractic champions this belief, supporting our teams in every drive and supporting his patients for nearly 20 years, offering affordable, compassionate, all-natural wellness care. Call 618-259-2676 or visit rosewoodchiropractic.com today. Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Welcome back. First part of our spotlight on North-Alton Godfrey Business Council. Patty and Terry Seymour, how are we guys doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
Is it warm outside yet?
Nope.
It's comfortable.
Comfortable? You know, yesterday, I'm not going to lie, I've been in complainer status lately because I haven't experienced a real spring in such a long time, and this is a kind of a real spring. We're getting close. Is it making the petals look any prettier out there, Patty?
The dogwoods are blooming and several other flowers. Tulips are still standing good, so yeah.
Really cool. Well, fill me in on Patty's Petals and how this idea came about and how it started getting developed.
We started in our home about 11 years ago now.
Yeah.
Just doing actually family and friends' weddings.
No.
Started it out. Yes.
Can I ask you real quick? Did it start out with you doing something fun and then someone going, "Oh man, that looked really good. Let me call Patty and see if she could do this"?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
That's awesome. And so after
it built.
How long did it take to kind of get that all built up?
Well, my daughter-in-law, Missy, started working with me probably 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Started learning,
and she really loved it. She was the only one free to be able to do something like that with me, and she helped me out doing weddings. So then the weddings built and kept building, and then we started advertising on Google. To get a little bit more clients calling, and that worked. And then we started doing some funerals, and I've been looking probably 4 or 5 years for a building. And I wanted Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived in Godfrey for, well, pretty much all our lives, except for when he was in the service.
Where'd you serve, sir, or what branch did you serve in?
Air Force.
Really good. Thank you for your service, too.
Thank you.
And so we're back in Godfrey after the service, and I got to ask you, when you're finding the brick and mortar, this is where the fun comes in, and I see your Landmark Realty shirt on here, Terry. How difficult was it for you to find that spot where all the vision came together? Because for me, I'm the pickiest guy out there. If it's not 100% what it needs to be, I don't want it.
Well, we originally wanted to actually be able to acquire the old gas station that's out there on the corner of Grace and Godfrey Road.
Yeah, that's true.
But Arrow Sign Company owns it, and
it was above our budget.
we couldn't quite do that. I talked to Benet about it, and she told me I had an idea what Lance would want for it, and I couldn't do that. But I just want, my feeling, I wanted that gas station to be restored a bit better. And a flower shop to me was going to be great there, but it never came available.
I was constantly asking him what the price of something was.
She wanted the high profile of Godfrey Road. We both, love Godfrey. The Village of Godfrey has been real good to her since she decided to start this. Mayor Mike McCormick has been to the shop, and we've done, because what she found, because it is a high-profile spot.
Yeah, it is.
It's right there on Godfrey Road, right at Martin Luther King Boulevard, where it comes together.
Mm-hmm.
And because you got the stoplights, it's not really scary to try and make a move, kind of like going to where the new Mexican restaurant is.
It's not playing Frogger. You're able to get across. That's a good point.
Yeah. And the plant stand's got high profile too.
Yeah.
So that, and pretty much whenever you tell somebody where we're at, it's always, well, we're right next door to the plant stand. So they always.
They know.
It kind of goes hand in hand. And real quick, if you're just tuning in, this is our spotlight on the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council. Up first is Patty's Pedals. We'll talk to Mary Cordes here, part of our spotlight here in about 10 to 12 minutes. But just getting back to Patty's Pedals, to be on Godfrey Road, and you're really in the corridor of growth. And it seems like Godfrey is really coming together. There's some really exciting things. And it's really cool to hear that you had the support of the village and, having the mayor stop by. That's got to mean a lot for your morale of just going forward and kind of keeping you going, too.
It was. It's been, I'll tell you what, I didn't expect a lot, I didn't expect all that, but the support being in Godfrey and people walking in and saying, well, we've never had a florist in Godfrey.
Yeah.
So people walking in and saying, oh my gosh, are we ever glad to see you're here? So at first it was just going to be florist, just flowers, fresh flowers, some silks.
Mm-hmm.
But we realized that people wanted gifts. And so we have stocked the shop. It's stocked now. The girls have worked very hard and decorating, getting it up ready.
Mm-hmm.
And, we only opened November the 5th was our actual ribbon cutting.
It was 15th.
Or 15th, whatever.
But it's kind of it's not funny, but it's still there's some humor in that because when you're in the thick of it and you're going nonstop, and you don't even. It's like, what did we have for breakfast yesterday? Let alone an open date, and it just shows how much work it takes to get something going.
It took 2.5 months to clean it out and get it painted and get it to where we wanted it. I mean, there was some things that had to be done. The bathroom was atrocious. And we had to go in there. It was.
But you're right,
Our girls demanded that.
Well, and you're right, though, because, just like the thing with the bathroom, I mean, you're trying to get your brick and mortar together and start that next chapter. You want to start it off fresh and have it, looking great. And especially in these buildings, and I'm sure you know better than anybody when it comes to a lot of this, that it takes a lot of work.
Well, it had sat empty for a couple of years.
And that's the worst part of it.
And it was, it was rather dirty, and he had to build a walk-in cooler, which we love.
Nice.
And just stuff like that had to be done.
Well, that's really cool.
But it's all done.
How long does it take for a walk-in cooler to get built? I've never asked that question before.
It's actually simple because there's a thing called a CoolBot, which is a small little, probably a computerized
electronics
indicator for tricking an air conditioner, just a regular window air conditioner, to go down to 43 degrees.
I'll be darned. That's really cool.
The room was already there. We just changed the size of it, shrunk it down to about a 9x9. And then I put 2-inch hardboard insulation on the walls and ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a ceramic tile floor already. So being in there with water and stuff wasn't going to damage anything. But it wasn't that hard.
That's really interesting. Really cool.
And we're actually renting the building. I wanted to put that in there. We've got a great landlord, and he worked with us to help us get open, and so it was nice.
It was
everything just.
It was a team and a village to get that
right.
Yeah, and it all fell into place real nice and smooth. I mean, other than a couple little things that you had to fix here and there.
Right.
We took the old door out that was a solid wood door and put a glass
Opened
door
it up.
in, which really opened up that entrance area. Painting the ceiling on the porch was significant because it was all peeling real bad.
We got it all fixed up. But let me tell you a little bit about the business.
Uh-huh.
Okay? We specialize in weddings. Our brides are wonderful. You hear about a bridezilla. We've never had a bridezilla, ever.
Really?
Never.
That's a feat. Now, that is an accomplishment.
We've not had that. We specialize in that, and that's a happy moment. But there's also the sad moments, which is funerals. And we pride ourselves in sitting down with families that have lost a loved one and help them through that process, which is not an easy process, of picking fresh flowers or whatever they need for that funeral.
I was going to, not to cut you off, but I was going to ask you directly about that because this is a very important time for folks, and especially someone, we've all gone through that, especially when you get closer in the family tree with getting arrangements made. There's a lot of care that has to go into those because they expect it to look a certain way, and this is a prized memory because you're reflecting on that person and those bouquets and those arrangements. Whenever you're meeting with somebody, how important is it for you to know the person that's being celebrated in that funeral?
Very, very important. We ask them questions like, did they like baseball? Did they enjoy garden work? And if they did, then we make notes of that, and we make sure, like a gardener, that we put in that piece some of the flowers that he or she may have brought along in their own gardens at home. Just things like that makes a difference to those people when they walk in and see the piece around their loved one, or surrounding an urn or whatever it might be that they needed. It really does help.
Well, and too, I mean, it goes beyond that because you're really tying in someone's life in flowers, whenever you're putting this on. And there's sometimes, you get the folks that go, don't worry about arrangements, just make sure we're all together. But for the family members, it means a great deal to them.
It does mean.
And I could only imagine the conversations after the service, where someone's calling you and saying, man, Patty, this was incredible. Thank your team for really reflecting on who my father, my mother, my grandmother, cousin was as a person. Do you have those conversations afterwards too?
We do. We honestly do, or they'll put it on the Facebook or somewhere. But yeah, we do. And we do that with weddings too, the happy and the sad. It's one extreme to the other.
Have you ever had to make divorce bouquets yet?
No, but we've made a lot of, I am so sorry.
I had to ask. I saw something. I don't know if you've seen this, Terry. There's something on Facebook where now there's a big thing called divorce parties.
Oh, my God.
I swear, I don't know where we're going, but I'm here for the ride for it. There's folks getting flowers made and big cakes that say happily divorced on them now.
Wow.
We haven't had any divorce, but we have had several men. We get all ages of men that will walk in and they need something for their wife for anniversary. He had 2 men yesterday walk in within an hour or so of each other, both needing anniversary and just I love you. We have a lot of them.
Now, what's the turnaround time for somebody who's a little bit of a procrastinator out there? Mother's Day's coming up, and what better thing to do than to support a local business, but also a local business that's going to make a beautiful arrangement for the mothers in your life. How much of a turnaround time do you need? Just because we all know the men in our lives and the promptness of some of our delivery and order needs.
We have certain holidays of the year, of course, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, that it's all hands on deck.
Oh, I bet.
Everybody, my daughters, all 3 of them are involved in the shop.
That's really cool.
I have 2 daughters that work, one that works full-time. She's a daughter-in-law, but she's my daughter.
Right.
She works full-time. My other daughter, my oldest daughter, comes in after she's worked a day at school, and she works from 3 to 5 most days and Saturdays. And then it's all hands on deck. So we don't do cutoffs. We have a lot of florists that do that, shut their phones off, and nobody can get through. We don't do that. We will take an order. We've had people call and say, I know this is way too late. Maybe you could deliver it tomorrow, but we get it out that day on those special occasions.
Real late calls, even delivering flowers up to Staunton at 8 o'clock at night on Valentine's.
Yes, we did.
That's incredible. And not just to ask you, as a family and as parents, when you see everyone kind of coming together, and even though you're so busy that day because you're getting your phone ringing 8,000 times, it's got to be cool if you take a step back and see all the kids working together and really putting something cool out there.
We do. We have grandchildren. I've got a granddaughter that's 12.
Yeah.
No, 12. And she helps with the weddings. And she'll come in and help us with processing the flowers. And she even runs the register sometimes.
When she goes to a wedding, she knows exactly what she has to do.
And
nobody has to tell her what to do. She knows exactly what to do. And she's
out. You can't ask for more.
No,
they're all involved.
She does a really good job.
Yes, she does.
To get back to weddings, when she was talking about the consultations, she offers free consultations to brides. All they got to do is call up, make an appointment, and then when the when they talk to them about what they're looking at,
What they need.
most girls have planned a wedding since they were 6.
Right.
And as they grow older, they are
Yeah.
always thinking about what they want. And with Pinterest nowadays, there's always these pictures everybody has. They bring this stuff in, show their interest. They consult with them and find exactly what they want. And then if they have a date that already set in their head or planned, they just pay a $100 deposit to hold the date, which is refundable if there's a reason why. But after that, then they get to go to the coolers over in St. Louis with Patty and Missy and Tara when she's available to go and see
Actually
the
handpick.
flowers at the wholesaler. Oh. They can then help pick out the exact flowers that they do want. And then there's a process then of putting everything together. Now, bridal stuff, we don't send pictures to them before they get it because they already have a general idea what they're getting. But with everyday bouquets and arrangements and even funeral stuff, before it goes out the door, we take a picture of every single thing that we make, and then we send it to the buyer so that they can see what
So
they
they know
paid
what they bought.
Perfect.
Because a lot of things are called in from out of state.
Oh, I bet.
We've had a call from Okinawa before.
Whoa.
All over the country.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
And by the way, he is our beautiful delivery man.
That's what I was going to ask. Now, we were talking about
He
kind
does
of
the deliveries.
taking pictures and sending them to clients, but why don't we do this just to get you guys some inspiration? We are on Patty Petal's official Facebook page. Follow along at home real quick. I found a few pictures and wanted to show them with you. Let me take my lower third off. That's beautiful.
That's the shop.
That's the shop, yep.
That's
And
in
I
the
wanted to go through a few of the pictures to show some of the shop off, if
Oh,
that's
thank
cool.
you.
And are these items just part of the shop?
No,
Nothing
they're for sale.
They're
Oh, they're
for
all
sale?
for sale.
Oh,
No, when we
perfect.
started gifts, we ordered a lot of things, and then we were also able to buy some things from the recent Jeffries in Wood River. They called us, and we were able to buy some things from his shop.
Well, this is beautiful, and these are all perfect for mothers, grandmothers, even for
Yep.
new home buyers that maybe need some outside or inside decor. This is wonderful. And just going through, I love those type of arrangements and getting all the greenery in there and making
Yep.
it look cool. What are
Yeah.
your favorites to kind of witness, to see brought into the shop or put together?
We do all our own designs. We don't copy. I
That's
wanna say
cool.
that. I don't do cookie cutters. We will never do cookie cutters. Like what you get when you order from
A
1-800
number.
numbers. Please don't do that.
Thank you very much. Okay, I wasn't going to get on a soapbox today, but nothing.
That is my soapbox.
Well, I'll take it for you. There's nothing worse than getting something that is cut and paste. I'm just going to be honest, because it means to me that you went, oh, I forgot about such and such. I need to get that done. When you can take an extra day and make sure that you have care and maybe some pride, put it in the passion of Patty and Terry and the whole family at Patty's Petals, because listen, Patty's Petals is going to support our community. 1-800 numbers aren't going to, and
they're
that's
not.
it's just no different than shopping
Well, you
at
get, with the 1-800 number, you get charged more
exactly.
than what you're going to get if you call
Yeah.
a local florist. And it doesn't matter where you're calling in the country. You can always find someone on Google
Yep.
and call a local florist, look at pictures that they might have there, and we have the same thing. I mean, we get calls from all over the country for people seeing things online to know what to.
And better quality.
Yeah.
Better quality than the 1-800 just produce 8 million of the same thing, and by the time you get it, it ain't worth it. But if you go to Patty's Petals, everything will be worth it. Patty, Terry, it's been a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you.
And for the full listing and full services and full items available, let me direct you to 3104 Godfrey Road. That's right next to the the plant stand.
Plant
I always
stand.
say the flower shop. The
In
plant
between
stand.
the bank and the plant stand and the cut above.
And it looks really nice. It's a great corridor over there to drive past, and you can stop in for yourselves ahead of Mother's Day, ahead of whenever you need some inside decor for the spring or maybe even just throughout the year. I'll be there myself. 3104 Godfrey Road, or give them a call, 618-304-4100. That's 618-304-4100, or go to Patty's Petals on Facebook or Patty'sPetalsGodfrey.com for more information.
And the times that they're open is 10 to 5 Monday through Friday, 10 to 3 on Saturday. And we take phone call orders 8 to 8 a.m.
daily.
to 8 p.m. So if for some reason you forgot something, you just call, place an order, and it'll get sent wherever you're wanting it to go.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break. Our spotlight on the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council continues with friend of the show, Mary Cordes. It's not Beyond the Shelves. It's a different Our Daily Show segment with the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council spotlight. We'll take a quick break. Daily Show hits you next on a Tuesday after this.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey Sherry,
Talk to me, Dream Team.
we've got Joey.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. Welcome back to our Daily Show. Here's CJ. Not Beyond the Shelves. This kind of feels weird.
It does feel very weird. It feels very weird because I came in and I was like, well, I've got all my stuff to talk about. And I was like, but I know we also want to talk about the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council. I just feel very discombobulated this morning.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. When
when
I saw the email, I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And then when I saw you coming in, I'm like, well, how do I do this? Because I'm so used to like the Beyond the Shelves music and the intro. All I know is that
we'll just chat.
You are a part of the community within your library, and it's important to be a part of the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council. It is. And what I think is really cool is whenever you present, and last year you did at Roper's, very eloquently, by the way. Whenever we had some microphone issues, and you just chugged along and made sure we all heard.
Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me in the back?
And it was really cool. But when, to hear you speak about it, it wasn't because I know a lot of what you were going to say. But to see the members react to it is the coolest thing for everyone that's been here for 30, 40 years going, I'll be damned.
I know. I didn't know. Yeah. So, and that's kind of one of the points. And the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council, I mean, you've had people on that belong to that. There's just a wide array of businesses that we have in town. Yeah. And sometimes you hear it and you're like, I didn't know we had that here. And so when I went to talk to them, it was kind of like you do this really broad program because you want to kind of try to hit everybody. But the awesome thing about the library is that almost to a business, we had something for everyone in one of those businesses. And so so that was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to see the looks on people's faces, like, I never thought about using the library for my business. So, yeah.
Yeah, like your business startup center or resource center is really cool inside of Hana.
Yeah. We've got all kinds of community information. We've got all kinds of business databases, small business databases. We have a legal reference center, so it's got
Which
legal.
is huge.
Yeah, it's got legal forms and all kinds of things that businesses can use. So it makes sense when you think library, North-Alton Godfrey Business Council. How does that work? Well, we've
like a
glove.
glove.
We've got something for everybody.
Here's the church. Here's the steeple. Open the door. Look at the people. You know.
See all the library things.
You see the library thing. I like it.
So yeah.
Well, how's everything? How was your eclipse journey?
It was wonderful. We went down to Carbondale. I had the day off. Took the day off. Went down with our niece, and she's in school down there. So we got to see her. We got to see the eclipse.
Did
and
you
was
make
amazing.
it in time?
Yeah, we went the night before.
Okay.
Spent the night. Yeah.
I gotta ask Tara Lee. She left. I feel bad. It's my fault. I think I was the reason somebody missed the eclipse.
Oh no.
I saw the kudos to KTRS is the only one that does live traffic reports, like real reports, not the 10-second sounder where it says "Don't drive today." I felt so bad for their traffic manager. It was
a nightmare.
Do not go anywhere. Stay home. It was like a snowmageddon times 1,000.
It was unbelievable, and I feel kind of bad because we had a really easy trip. Like, it was an easy trip down. We were able to get a dinner reservation. We had dinner with our niece. We came back up. It only took us an hour longer to get back home. And I looked at Paul. I was like, I'm feeling kind of guilty about this.
You're seeing Facebook of people like just freaking out.
I know.
Now, how was the experience for the total?
It was surreal. Mm-hmm. It was just the most incredible thing to see, and I was prepared for it. We had given away 3,000 pairs of eclipse glasses through the library, and so we had patrons came down. That we closed the library for an hour so that people we'd given glasses to, people came down and watched it. The staff went out and watched it. It was just a really neat event, and it was kind of. I told my husband, I said it's kind of neat because there's so few experiences we get to have together as a country.
Yeah.
Where everybody's happy about something. For the most part, everybody's happy about something.
Right.
And it was a really neat experience, people coming in to get the glasses, and then while they're there, seeing what else we had in the library, and it was just a really great thing.
In 2017, the country came together and laughed at ourselves for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
When the picture came out of our president looking at the sun, everyone on both sides chuckled. Everyone did.
It was,
and no different than yesterday.
No, it was a fun time. It was a fun time.
What I thought was cool, and not to get political, Biden kind of made a joke that said, "Don't look in the sun." And guess what? For the first time in years, no one said, "Well, that's terrible." Right. We all laughed and said, "Yeah,
it was a fun time. It was a really fun time. We had a good time.
And, 2017 here. Did we have a total eclipse?
I don't remember. Isn't this terrible? I feel like. I don't think we did.
I
don't think it was
a lot of parties.
You know what? I don't think it was right. I don't think it was because when I saw the totality yesterday, it was so stunning, and I thought, I would remember that I'd seen this before.
What
so
I think's cool too, Mary, is the technology. Like, we were a part of a conglomerate feed yesterday, but to see because they really said don't take pictures because it burned your screen out.
Right.
But the fact we have cameras that can zoom in that close to the
was really neat.
Crazy.
Really neat. Well, and we have telescopes at the library that people can check out, but we pulled them a week before, about 2 weeks before.
Good call.
Because we were afraid that people would check them out from the library and then use them to view, and it can
not be
funny. It damage.
Happened.
It can damage.
I watched a video.
Ruin
Did you see it yesterday?
No.
There was an individual. I think it was in Illinois. They had a nice telescope and it was beautiful, and he was so excited, and he blew his eye out.
Yeah, and we didn't want that to happen. And so, it's great that we can check these things out at the library, but we need to be a little safe with them too.
And
so we pulled them out of circulation, but they're back in circulation today. So if you want to check out a telescope, come to the library. They're back in circulation.
Didn't mean to be all doom and gloom for you on your eclipse, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Now, getting to the library, how's everything looking this month of
Really good.
April?
Really good. We've got a couple of programs that are happening. We've got Food for Fido, our Fine Amnesty program, which we've talked about. That's going on the whole month, and you can just go on our website and get the details on that. We actually have two programs coming up this week. One is on Friday at the Alton Square location from 6 to 7:30. We have a spring reading retreat, so that's
cool.
This Friday.
Now, the winter one was really
The winter one went over really well.
attended.
It was our first time doing a reading retreat, and so we're going to try and do them each season. So it's just a chance for people to come. You can. We're going to have a snack. We're going to make fruit kebabs. We're going to make a little pressed flour jar and then it's a time for people to just sit and chat about the books they like to read. We'll have a bunch of books spring-themed books for people to select from. You can bring your own book. You can just kind of do your own thing if you're kind of an introvert. If you just want to spend the time and just a chance to sit and read, because people just don't have a chance to do that. Or you can sit and chat with people about what you like to read, swap book titles and authors, and
I've never asked
kind
you
of fun.
this. Do you talk with other readers about their interpretations of a book?
We do. A
Now,
lot,
do you personally do it though?
So I do. I because I'm a reader.
That's
and
what I was curious about.
I love nonfiction, but I also love mysteries. But even the classic, just people come in and they say, "Oh, I really liked this book," and if I've read it, I love to talk to people about why they liked it, what they got out of it. It's another fun part of book club too. It's just seeing people spin on what you've both read and how you interpret things so differently.
So I don't know. Maybe it's definitely a CJ problem. And I got a lot of them. I just for me, if I start talking about a book, I immediately feel like I took the book the wrong way.
Really?
So, I'm so nervous to say what I took away from it because it's like, well, I'm going to be on a completely different
I love
wavelength.
that. I actually like it when somebody gets something different out of a book than I do because, A, it forces me to think differently, and it forces me to see the world in a different way, and it's just interesting to see what people get out of something.
Look at us
so
getting deep at 9:56 in the morning. It's so fascinating to me how, and this is a good opportunity for either or to really come together and just retreat.
Exactly, and talk about books. And like I said, that's this coming Friday.
All right.
I just want to call and register for that, though.
Puzzle me this.
Okay, I'm going to puzzle you this.
Oh, sorry. I told you I can read prompter.
You can read, and you can read upside down. I'm impressed.
Prompter, that's it.
So we have a Puzzle Me This program, which is the second program I was talking about. It actually takes place on the 20th from 11 to 2. It's on a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Genealogy and Local History Library. And so we're going to have a puzzle competition. So people can come together, teams of 4, and you can come together. We're going to have them put together we're going to have a fastest completion, win a prize for fastest completion of puzzles, and then we're also going to have some local history trivia, so some historical trivia, I should say. So we're going to have that, and for the event, the staff collaborated with the Alton High graphic communication students to create.
They're good.
They are amazing. They are incredible.
They
we should be so proud of these kids because they put together some amazing stuff. So they made some puzzles for us, and so those are the puzzles that people are going to be putting together, local history puzzles, and they're one of a kind. You can come, you can compete to put them together as quickly as you can. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be at our local history, Genealogy and Local History Library on Saturday the 20th.
We need to do a write-up on those kids because on top of that, too, because you're a big CEO supporter, just from seeing you at the trivia nights and all the other stuff, they're actually helping make the business cards for some of these students, too.
That's amazing.
Isn't that so cool?
When we have so many good kids in our area,
100%.
and with our teen programs that we do at the library, we see that, and it's like, everybody gives teens such a bad rap. We have got some really great teens in our area doing some really cool things.
It's no different than any other news.
No.
Don't let the couple of bad outweigh the 10,000 good.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've partnered with them at the library, the Graphic Arts. We've put together 2 books with them, and they're both for sale at the library. Yeah. One is Color Me Alton. It's a coloring book.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to talk about this sometime. I mean, we can talk about it now. And
my brain's melting. I seriously had no idea.
Yeah, we've done 2 books. They're both for sale at the libraries. You can pick them up. Yeah. With the Graphic Arts club at the communication students. Yeah.
That is seriously
not the club,
coolest
students.
thing.
Yeah, it's really neat. I'll bring them in sometime. We can look at them and talk about them. So
I feel bad. Like I do the segment with you and don't even. When did that happen?
We've had them for a couple of years. Yeah, we've had them for several years, and they're available to purchase.
Is so
they're
cool.
really, really neat. So
I know what the kids are getting for Christmas.
Well, yeah. You know what? I did that for Christmas for a couple of years.
So
Gave them to the nieces and nephews, and they're neat books. They really are. And like I said, they're available. One's a hardback, and one is a paperback, a softcover book, and they're both for sale at the library. And just pop in and pick one up. And I'm always trying to get the staff to come on with me. And Renee Johnson is helped collaborate with the graphic communication students. So maybe we'll see if we can get Renee to come on and we could talk about this collaboration because it's incredible.
Beth was a superstar.
I know. Beth is great, isn't she?
I'm telling you what, I haven't had any more. Every time. man, I got to check out Beth's classes. I got to check out.
She has great classes.
She came on and just stole the show.
I know her branching out classes are amazing. Yeah.
Now, what a wonderful world.
Yep.
Now that is actually my favorite song. Like ever.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, it's a great song.
I love Louis
It's a great
Armstrong.
song. I kind of tear up every
Me
time I
too.
hear that song. I know.
You know what?
I love
Also,
it.
though, those movies ruined those songs too.
I don't know
Because
the movie.
there was, it was either Toy Story or one of the animated ones when they get their clock rung and they're like just flying all over the.
Oh no!
Now, detail me this. This is kind of cool. What's this about?
So we are partnering with Jacoby Arts Center to do our May and June adult programs.
That's right.
But we're actually making the May concert that we're doing. It's Mark Dvorak. He's coming. He's going to do a folk concert for us, a family folk concert.
Really cool.
At the Jacoby Arts Center. It's called What a Wonderful World, an evening with Mark Dvorak. It's for the entire family. Mark just won a Lifetime Achievement Award from the International Folk Music Association.
That's
big. And so it's big. And so he's coming to play for us. So bring kids, grandkids. That's Tuesday, May 7th at 6:30 p.m. The library's sponsoring it at Jacoby Arts Center. And you can register for that program at 1-800-613-3163, or just call the library and we'll transfer you to the person you can register with. But yeah, that's for the whole family. It's going to be fun.
Funny? I forget how many interviews that I talked. I just had Lacey and Rachel on, and we talked about the
right, yeah, the partnership, yeah.
Now, whenever you guys gear up for the end of school, what does that look like for your teens program?
So we usually have team programming all year long, and we do take a small break of like 1 or 2 weeks while we get prepped for summer reading. And so we go from our normal teen programs, have a 1 or 2 week break at the end of May, and then at the beginning of June we kick right back into gear and have an entire summer reading program for teens.
That's right. Okay.
So yeah, we do a teen summer reading program as well as the kids.
Because even though there's never I'm starting to learn there's never a slow season.
Never. No, there really isn't. So we are all year long planning, and we have such a wonderful staff. Sharon Wyndham, get Sharon to come on.
We got to
sometime.
get Sharon.
In fact,
on.
she is going to come on. I think next month. She said she'd come with me, and she and her staff are on it. I mean, they already have the summer reading program planned, and the programs are planned through September. So they're amazing. Cool. Yeah, but we are constantly 12 months a year team programming. We actually have a library program every single day of the week. Every day of the month, there's something going on. So yeah.
Well, and it's one thing else I wanted to highlight too is your support staff in terms of like maintenance. You guys have some of the hardest working maintenance crews around.
Yeah, people say all the time, like, "Oh, I saw Sherry in the yard. I saw her in the garden. I saw her doing this. I saw her doing that." And it's just, we do. We really do. Everybody at the library.
Everyone.
You know, if there's something that needs to be done, people just pitch in and make sure it gets done. So.
Well, and speaking of which, is there anything else I'm forgetting about before?
No. We've kind of covered everything.
Well, and it's kind of weird talk. I mean, seriously, like a weird deja vu feeling.
It is.
So
it's
weird.
Very strange.
But to have you a part of the business council is important. Because,
it is.
Whenever we get your insights, that's really fascinating. But it's also the opportunity just to realize the library is a resource to business.
It is. And I always kind of like to hear what other businesses are doing, because then I think, is there a way that we can help them?
Exactly.
Or help businesses like them? And then it makes us think about, is there a program that we can have, or resources that we can have ready? Or I stop and talk to somebody after the meeting and say, hey, I heard you talking about this. Let me tell you how the library can help you.
And that's why I wanted to talk with you after I talked with Patty and Terry, because that's what I've kind of seen for myself firsthand is, there's been times where Methodist Village or Asbury Village, and Abria's talking, and I've seen you afterwards going, hey, that's kind of cool.
And we partner with them too. So we do book delivery to their residents that are there. So we've got our fingers all over the community.
I wanted to highlight that though, because it's not just you guys are in an office somewhere. You're active in the community,
everywhere,
being a part of it, and it also shows just how amazing the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council is. Because even though we're talking to Hainer, this is their segment, the North-Alton Godfrey Business Council's Spotlight and Beyond the Shelves on the first and last Monday of the month. But we got it on a second Tuesday this time around. Are you going to the council meeting today?
I'm going to try, but I have another meeting to go to. So if I can hit that and then the other one. Too. I know it's my vacation, but we'll see.
10:04, we'll take a quick break. We're going to come back with a little bit of a hybrid 10 o'clock hour for you. We talked to Court Wall, but one of my best interviews of the year so far is with Dr. Kathy Wollner, and we talked all about teen and adolescent and children and mental health factors and what she's seeing and all the upticks and how we can kind of spot those warning signs before it's, unfortunately a little bit more progressed or too late. 10:04, a quick break. We'll come back with more of our daily show right after this on RiverBender.com.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry. Talk to me, Dream Team. We've got Joey.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Welcome back. Second day of April, rolling around the corner in downtown Alton. Court Wall in studio. See, I'm not like the ring announcer. I got it right, you know.
That's perfect.
Court, how are we doing today, man?
Pretty well. How are you, man?
Hanging in there, you know. Fair to Midland, ready to go home already.
All right. Yeah.
But you're getting a haircut today. Life's looking great for you. You know, getting ready to lead some more classes this evening. How's everything been over at Alton Family Martial Arts and Fitness?
Other than exhausting, it's been amazing. You know? I really love to put my energy into it because it's fed back. We've been growing like crazy there.
Yeah.
We've got a huge team, and it's a lot to keep up with. But again, it's like a family. You're trying to keep up with, people.
Well, man, I was talking just with Adam and Adam Pipert and Steve and all those guys, and just seeing on Facebook the community really that you guys have over there is so. And I say it all the time. It's really special that a fitness community really is that tight knit, and you're promoting and showing love for everybody that comes to the doors. Is that the atmosphere even inside when we're starting to roll around and get a little nitty gritty out there?
Absolutely. More so.
Yeah.
I'd say because I'm very weird myself. I like to be openly awkward, and we have all mixture of people there. And when you roll, that's the struggle we all share together. We all kind of got to go through the deep waters, if you would.
That's really cool. I've never heard it like that. That's awesome.
That's the big thing I find, because it's a shared struggle. We all deal with the same things in life, deal with all that stuff. But when we roll, we've all had our fair share of person that just beats the snot out of us.
Yeah.
And it's just something we all share and get along with, and we all have similar goals, and it's a big mixture of people there. It's a lot of fun with all the oddballs we do have.
And too, I just got to learn how to start rolling with that damn government, because this tax bill was making me sad, Court. I'm just going to be honest with you. Do you take that out on the mat every once in a while?
That's mainly the kids' class thing. I don't like to bully adults too much.
Yeah, that's true.
I want them to be confident. So I say it for the kids.
Well, take me through your classes, because I know that you see all walks of life coming through the door. And it seems like no matter what, if somebody, maybe is out of shape and they want to use this as a tool to maybe motivate them, or picking up some really needed and crucial skills, take me through the individuals that walk through the doors never experiencing martial arts or, any of this before. What are their experiences those first couple of minutes?
Well, it somewhat depends on the person, because whatever you're willing to do.
Right on.
We want you comfortable, of course, before we make you uncomfortable.
True.
But I like to quickly do a quick talk to them, and it's up to them. If they come in, they could watch class, they could jump right in, as long as the waivers fill out and all that right away. But it's welcoming to all people that do come in. It's all smiley faces. As I said, we share that struggle. You see somebody, at first it might be a little intimidating, because you do see these guys get choked or armbarred. But as soon as you see that guy that gets choked or armbarred get up and smile and slap them, go again, you're kind of like, oh wait, maybe this isn't as bad.
You aren't in Kansas no more,
no, not necessarily.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, because you hit something right on the head earlier, and that's just who you are personality-wise. Whenever I was, and I always tell the story, I do pro wrestling. It's not even anywhere close to the same thing you're doing. But, there's always that vibe that, when you're around an MMA, individual, there's kind of like some intimidation factors there. With, you and so many others in the MMA world now, it seems like the personality's really starting to show, and you're just your own person. It's laughter, it's jovial. Is that kind of something that's newer in MMA, or is this something that I just am not familiar with? Because I love it.
In the gym, that's the norm.
Okay.
In honesty, majority of the true mixed martial arts, the true fighters I know, are the nerdiest people.
Really?
They're the nerdiest. They want to talk about anime.
I'll be damned.
That's all the top level pro fighters I know. That we want to talk about nerdy stuff. So yeah, it's goofy people majority of the time that are all about the MMA.
That's what's cool though, but it's just when your personality shows, I think that's what really helps captivate and keep people coming back, because it's welcoming for anyone at any beginner level or any type of experience level too. It really is. Come in the door and let's get weird, and let's figure out who we are as people while we're figuring out our techniques.
Yeah, sometimes figuring yourself out as a person takes a little longer than technique.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Have you learned a lot about yourself going through MMA?
Through martial arts, oh yeah, and it seems there's always something new to learn.
Okay.
And there's always different instances, whether it's through the kids class or through how you deal with others, or instances of life. You do learn from teaching, from training, from all that. And it's a lot of perspective. Obviously, you can't learn if you're going in with a closed mind, right? But if you are being yourself, embracing all these people, not only are you learning martial arts, but you do learn much about these people and different perceptions of life, if I could say.
Do you think that you've gotten better as a fighter while since you started becoming an instructor and really growing in that role?
I definitely, technique-wise and all that, skill-wise, yes, for sure. I've learned a lot about myself. Self-awareness comes with some downsides to it. You know, it's I'd say it's a double-edged sword.
It is, for sure, 100%.
Realizing as I'm older, as I had this last fight, adrenaline hits me super hard. When I was a kid, fighting. I remember after fights, I'd be able to like immediately be calm and talk to my partner and be like, "Hey man, thank you for the fight." After this, and after this last one, I was all wound up and screaming. It's just, it's different. Yeah, it's different, But you learn many new lessons about yourself throughout. All these hardships.
That's why I think it's so beneficial, because the growth that you go through, it just seems like from an outsider looking in, is really immense, through all of that.
For sure.
And before we take our first break, fill me in on some of the classes you teach for the folks that are interested for themselves, or maybe even their children that need to learn some valuable skills.
I teach a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that just from talking before.
I teach kickboxing on Mondays and Wednesdays. I teach jiu-jitsu as well for kids and adults. Kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Adults almost every day for jiu-jitsu. And I teach MMA on Saturdays now as well.
Really cool.
And I do personal lessons, and I love martial arts, man. This is what I love to do, love to teach.
Man. And now here's my question. What's the best way for folks to gauge what would be of interest? Because sometimes, not sometimes, I'm sure a lot of the times, you have some folks that maybe have never been a part of anything like this before. And when you have all those selections, it's like, man, what should I try out? What's the best way is it just going in, kind of observing the class, seeing if that's what you're interested in? Or is it having a conversation to see what would be beneficial for them before they even walk through the door?
Conversation help a little bit, but I'm a big fan of, if it makes you uncomfortable, try it.
Yeah.
You get a free week to try it all out anyways. And it's not just like say if you're a musician, you know, watching a concert and performing, it's completely different.
Right.
As if you come in to watch, it's not going to be the same experience. Sure, it could be entertaining, but it's not the personal experience that you need to have, you know. So I recommend just really grabbing the bull by the horns and trying it out.
Well, and that's what I was curious about too, because it seems like the last couple of years, and it's always been there, but we're starting to see more and more of the people doing the hesitancy thing, where it's like, man, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should, and that's why I think that's one of the biggest lessons that you guys are really instilling in folks around here, is to take those chances, you know, say yes to things and try it new, and if you don't like it, great, but at least try it and see if you do. You know, and that's what I think is so valuable about this, is that you're getting people comfortable being uncomfortable again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot, like I said, the discomfort leads to growing. You know what I mean? Leads to you learning a lot about yourself when you don't have any sort of normal option out and you got to figure out your own. You know, again, it's a lot to learn from it.
What makes the gym environment over at Alton Family Martial Arts and Fitness different than any other gym that you've been around, really, in this type of setting?
In honesty, I'd say just my extra weirdness.
That's true, okay.
In totality,
Yeah.
you know, these other guys, the team has picked up on my weirdness, and it goes back to the kids' class as well. One big thing I like about being weird is if I'm the weirdest one there, none of these kids,
they feel comfortable.
They have no worry about being weird, which I pay for it a lot of the time.
I bet.
You know,
I bet a lot of honesty.
But again, it's them. They're finding that confidence in themselves. But I mean, I noticed it the other day, and it's taken me years to realize it. But I mean, some people feel bad about showing up late to class and all that stuff too. And we don't care too much. We're not militant. Whenever that person comes in, the whole class stops and screams their name out of excitement. They're like, ah, John's here, woohoo, you know what I mean? So I saw that going down, and it's pretty cool, in my opinion.
It really is, because because it's an intimidating thing to get into, you know, sometimes.
absolutely.
And whenever you have that kind of atmosphere where it is a family, it makes it so much more easy to go in and say yes to this. And that's why I think you guys are doing just a great job and kicking ass. Do you have time to stick around?
Yeah.
9:32. I got to talk to you about your background a little bit and ask some neat questions about the fighting world. I've always been curious, and now I got a real fighter in front of me now.
I'm an open book, man. Send it away.
We'll find out after this at 9:32. A little bit of Change Our Daily Show hits you next on RiverBender.com.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, Free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Riverbender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Have a lot of fun, putting trouble on the run. Man, you found the old and young, twisting the night away. Yeah, twisting. Everybody's feeling great. They're twisting. They're twisting the night away.
9:35. Welcome back. Court Wall back in studio. I got to ask you a little bit about the fighting life here. How cutthroat is it getting into fighting weight? Because I have seen some of the wrestlers in my life, the real college wrestlers, and how intense that is. In the fighting world, is it just as intense to cut and make weight?
It really depends on how you do it.
Okay.
There's a right way and there's a wrong way. There's also how short notice did you take this fight? You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's easier to cut 20 pounds in 4 weeks than it is in one.
Is it possible in a week to cut 20 pounds?
Oh, yeah.
Really? See, that whole thing fascinates me.
So a lot of it's a lot of water, obviously. So my last one I took the fight on 3 weeks notice, I want to say. And normally I cut my between 15 to 20 the week of the fight. I didn't want to do that throughout the week this time because it does lead to a little bit of lethargicness in myself. So I was like, we'll try it out all in one day. And I was able to cut 18 pounds in the sauna this last time.
Wow.
Not just sauna, I apologize. So before we do the sauna, the night before weigh-ins, what we do is, I shouldn't say we, not everybody does this. You can get rubbing alcohol and Epsom salts. And you put it in a bath as hot as you could take it. And you get in that bath for a while, you get out, sweat a little, get back in, and when the heat's gone, you get out, dry off, you put on a hoodie, a sweatsuit, you go to bed, and you wake up 4 or 5 pounds drenched in gross sweat.
But it works.
Yes, it cuts the weight out.
Now, how do you go about dehydration and all of that when you're cutting weight? Is that ever a factor?
So that's a big reason why I try to do it all in one day.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, it's even got to the point where even those shaker cups, you're trying to open, your hand completely cramps up because you're opening and you got no water flow to your body. Oh, yeah. It was bad after this last, I weighed in, I think I got a whole 2 gallons of water overnight, didn't pee once. It was a good time.
Oh, my God.
But I felt great.
I felt great.
I felt great, man.
Now, whenever whenever you know who your opponent is, what does that mean for training camp? Does an opponent ever dictate how long you start training camp before that bout? How does that work?
So it's not because this is my job and my career.
Yeah.
I'm always training.
Okay.
I should say. The biggest thing I think I lack in is diet because I love my food. I love my sweets. I love all that.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'd say because I do train so much and genetics probably play a factor, I do get to stay a little closer to weight. But not too often does it change up. It's the same stuff. You go work your jiu-jitsu. You go work your wrestling. You go spar at other gyms. It's the same routine. I'd say I definitely have a mental change where I can get a little more serious about it, but to that aspect, not too much, no. I know a lot of people do a lot of research on their opponents and whatnot. I am not one, I will research them, but I don't like to watch too much. Yeah. Because when I fight, then I'll pick something, and then I'll only watch for that rather than just doing my game, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. You're shortening yourself.
I'm a much better, almost improv, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It works better for me to that aspect, but every fighter is different.
Now, do you have a 24-hour window before the fight of the day before preparations? Is there any type of, meditation, any type of reflection or anything for you?
Food.
That's it? Seriously?
Not too much. A lot of rehydration.
Yeah.
No, I don't have routine. The only routine I used to have was after a fight, I'd like to go to IHOP.
That's awesome.
But I mean, before a fight, I watched Good Will Hunting one time. It just randomizes, and that turned out really good. So, Good Will Hunting's
a thumbs up. Yeah, a 5-star movie.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
That's really cool. It's just fascinating to hear that stuff because some, interviews I've listened to, it's kind of a little different, But hearing how you approach things is really unique. I mean, really cool, and not even unique, but just really cool. It seems like you have more of a level head when you go about these instead of 1,000 miles an hour just ready to snap all the time.
Try to make it a norm.
Yeah.
I mean, and it almost goes back to the training with jiu-jitsu, when you are consistently in that uncomfortable spot, that doesn't become an uncomfortable spot. It becomes a normal place of work.
Because you normalize it.
Yeah, and you're relaxed. You've been here before. You've survived this 1,000 times before, right? I'll survive it nice, relax this time.
So how did you get into the fighting world? Was there an influence on you, or is this something personally that you always wanted to do?
I was an ADHD kid.
Okay.
That was absolutely just all over the place. No sports really worked out for me. I started in Taekwondo and did that forever and did dozens of traditional martial arts from that time because before martial arts was a fad or a big thing around here. So we would have all the old school guys go around train. I switched over to MMA about 15, I want to say. I went to the War Room.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and this was with Taekwondo. I was at Olympic level. You know, I was at a very high level. I trained very hard for it, and I didn't like the sport. It was becoming very watered down. So it used to be almost full contact, and it got less and less, and to the point where they're not allowed to kick each other in the face. Yeah, it's why I learned how to kick to the head.
Why?
But,
That's a little different. Okay.
Get disqualified for kicking too hard. You know, that's.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Anyhow.
Okay.
I went to the war
That's
room.
a whole nother podcast.
Yes, not for me. And I went to the war room and threw some kicks, and I remember the person at the time told the coach there, "Hey, don't take it easy on him." And I got hit, and I dropped down, got right back up, threw another kick, got dropped right away. I was like, "Oh, this is reality. This is what I want to learn." You know, this because again, going back to the personalities and weirdness of it. If you, it doesn't matter if you know how to do the technique, if you can fight well. Jiu-jitsu, MMA, it doesn't matter how weird you are, you know. If you're good at the technique, it's yours, right?
Yep. That's really cool. Man, this has been really awesome to hear more, but this is the most I've learned about the fighting world ever.
I could talk a lot.
No, I got to ask you, were you ever a UFC guy watching it, or were you someone who's kind of because I love the original UFC. I mean, that was a lot more dangerous, I'm sure, but just watching that, I mean, Ken Shamrock was just a beast. His brother was awesome, too.
The first time I met Ken Shamrock, he shook my hand and apologized for his son. Weirdest thing, I was supposed to fight his son once.
No way!
His son backed out in the week of weigh-ins.
Yeah.
They got a replacement, and Ken Shamrock was there. And I never met the guy, and it was the most sincere handshaking, sorry. Like, I don't care, dude. I mean, I'm fighting out of the way, but yeah, very weird first meeting. That's a tangent on that aspect.
Yeah.
But I forgot the question.
No, it was just how UFC's, how that sport. I didn't know if that was ever an interest.
I don't watch a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. Like I said,
Right.
I'm an athlete that doesn't. If I watch it, I'll watch my friends fight. You know, because I want to support them and see what happens with that. But then I'm like antsy. Why am I not doing this? Why am I not in the cage? You know, I'm the kind of guy that prefers to sit at home and play video games. You know, I like to be nice and relaxed.
That's super cool, man. That's just really fascinating. I mean, super fascinating. And now, getting back to Alton Family Martial Arts and Fitness, whenever you're teaching, this is a gotcha question, but I don't mean for it to be. Whenever you're working, who do you like to work with the most? And I should maybe phrase it a little. What do you find the most intriguing and most rewarding for you? Is it working with somebody that's never got rolled around before? Is it working with someone who's done this for years and is finally at the breaking point of pushing forward?
This is one that's hard to measure because there are a lot of rewards.
Exactly.
There's nothing quite like being an athletic kid that does do that high-level athletic movement. Maybe it's just a forward roll even for the first time. That it's the realness of their emotion there. You know what I mean? They're not beaten down like adults are.
Yeah.
They still have it. But it's that realness of them actually being proud of themselves, them being all hyped up. But it's still cool to see. I mean, I got a kid there that started 16, I want to say, start off as a chubby kid. Now he's the flamboyant, strike flicking, skinny, tall kid, you know, that enjoys everything that he does. The transformations are the coolest part, I will say. Because I'm very much a character-based person. I like to see that huge change of
That's how I am too,
persona,
100%.
Whether it be physical, mental, emotional, what have you. And the different conversations and stuff that I have with them and the way they react to things, you know, how things affect them is cool to see. Or not affect them, I should say, anymore. It's very cool to see.
You know what? It's two different sports, but that's how I am with soccer. If I can see a character change and really see you coming into your own, that's for me, one of the coolest things out there, and really one of the most rewarding. It's cool to just see the crossover in completely different sports. Soccer, you get blown on, and you're out on Highway 70 grabbing your knee, you know?
Yeah. You're rewarded for it.
You're rewarded for it with a little cheddar. They hand out the cheddar, and you keep moving down the road. Hey, getting back over to the programs, I wanted to go through the classes again that you're teaching, just in case, folks, if you want to go online right now to altonfma.com/programs, you can follow along with these really great courses being taught. Court, go ahead. Which classes do you teach again?
I teach kickboxing on Mondays and Wednesdays at 5. That's all striking. Mondays more of our technique.
Okay.
Wednesdays is our pads and sparring day. You don't have to spar, but I mean, that's most of the fun in my opinion. You know, everybody's different. Jiu-jitsu after that at 6 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have beginner class. I don't run that on Mondays, but it's fantastic.
It is. I've heard some good stuff.
It's packed anymore. It's awesome. It's really fantastic. I don't know if the word beginner, because all of our classes are very friendly in that sense, is what brought it in. And I'm going to take this tangent, but it's just really cool to see all the people that you could tell that they were very nervous or intimidated by coming in.
Yeah.
That class, they're in there, they're smiling, they're going head on with it. fantastic to see that. I love that addition to our schedule for sure.
Not to put you on the spot, I know I'm cutting off a question here, but whenever you hit a great point, it seems like, for me, there's a lot of individuals that go, like you said, that are nervous, and all that, go into that class. But the bigger question for me is finding acceptance in a group setting. Because for some people growing up as kids, it's hard to find, a group of friends that accepts you or wants to even, kind of look at you the way that the schools are breaking down in social media. Inside your classes, inside your courses at Alton Family Martial Arts, is it almost something to where you're in a part of this kind of overarching, not just a family, but you're developing friends in this setting, I would assume too,
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I thought. I mean, not to take the long way, but I mean, this is really good to build character and just build those interpersonal relationships.
No, it is, and it's weird for me because, again, I'm not somebody that's really had a lot of those in my life.
Same, yeah.
The gym's been my life, the martial arts have been my life. And I've got these people that don't want anything from me. I got people in there that legitimately want to hang out with just my personality. I'm like, okay, what are we training today?
Right.
I don't know. We're just, I don't know. It's different for me. You know what I mean? But it's cool. It's appreciative. I see these guys that you would have never met if they've never done jiu-jitsu or anything of that sort, and now they're hanging out on the regular. Completely different personalities. The cop and the pothead hanging out.
Yeah, right. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I think is so beneficial about this too, because in a world where everyone's getting more and more isolated it seems like anyway, with social media we're still getting more and more isolated. This is a great group to find your own, but also to establish maybe some relationships going forward and friendships and who names it. That's what I find value in too, is so many people try to find that group or find that spot where they can call home. And man, Corey, you guys are doing a great job. So whether or not it's kickboxing or youth BJJ,
jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, MMA, I run it all.
That's cool, man. And you're always gonna make sure that you're coming to life when you're hanging out with Cord over there on the mat, learning all your business. One last question for fighting for you: is there one fight that you remember the most? And it doesn't have to be a win; it could be a loss. Is there one that always kind of sticks with you, or do you kind of move, or do you have a short-term memory in this?
No, I remember them all pretty clearly.
Really? Okay.
No, I've got a pretty good ADHD at the wazoo for short-term, not gone, but I can remember videos in my brain of what happened. I'd say it was one of my amateur fights. Might have been my first legal one, I want to say. Just the way it ended, because I was in mount and I punched him, and it was just, the blood explosion was the coolest thing. I don't know. Never seen it before, but it just went straight up.
Like it's a movie.
Straight out of it.
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing, in my opinion, for it. I mean, I've had other experience. I've been on that other end side of taking the punch to the face. I've had negative things too. I've had one fight lost because I got hit while I was on the ground. My head hit the canvas and I lost vision. Yep. Everything went white. I didn't know it was a thing. And the doctor came over and he was like, "Hey man, is everything all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I just can't open my eyes." He's like, "You're staring right at me." And I had my heart dropped there because I thought I was going blind.
Exactly.
It was just fluorescent, essentially. It was all fluorescent white. And it took 2 or 3 minutes for it all to come back. But I'd say that was the scariest instance of the MMA fights. Mm-hmm. But the cool one, the blood explosion.
Yeah, the blood explosion. Let's hit on the blood explosion. Always. Yeah. For more information, as always, AltonFMA.com. That's AltonFMA.com. Really get involved with this, folks. I mean, on social media, just the group of people tagging your classes and social media posts are just, celebrating personal growth through the gym is the coolest thing to see. Cord, keep up the great work, man. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I told you 20 minutes, and 30 minutes later, here we are still talking.
These mouths, man.
Get on over to that haircut. I know that you've been monitoring pretty closely.
I'll do my best.
James, I will get in again in about a week or two. I'm going to hold my Cord is, making me kind of, we did. Yeah. Very good, honest talk. 9:49, we'll come back with more of our daily show right after this in downtown Alton.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trunked.
I've got a Linux.
So do I. Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you've worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
In the heart-pounding moments of the game, every move counts, just like in chiropractic care. Dr. Andrew Dykman of Rosewood Chiropractic champions this belief, supporting our teams in every drive and supporting his patients for nearly 20 years, offering affordable, compassionate, all-natural wellness care. Call 618-259-2676 or visit rosewoodchiropractic.com today.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around.
10:39, welcome back. 14th day of, I almost said May. It's been a long day, Dr. Kathy. Dr. Kathy Wollner, Pediatric Healthcare Unlimited, my former doctor. I'm glad to have you in the studio. How are we this morning?
We're great. Thank you.
So with that being said, we've been having conversations with Centerstone about substance use disorder treatment programs, but we never really have the opportunity to talk about mental health, and to me, where it matters the most in our children and amongst our adolescent. And I'm really excited to have this conversation today, just speaking with you. This is definitely an issue that's hitting close to home.
Yeah, very much close to home, but nationwide as well. And people are wanting to blame the COVID crises on a lot of it. And it did have some, I think, impact, but we were seeing a ramp up of mental health issues prior to COVID.
Was COVID just the gasoline on the flame, maybe? Because I agree with you. I think COVID did take the blame for a lot of stuff, and these are things that we just kind of put the blinders onto until we had time to really process that.
Indeed.
Indeed, but things were already significantly ramping up prior to 2020.
And well, that's really fascinating. So with that being said, let's just start off broad with some statistics about some of the mental health and suicide amongst children and teenagers.
Okay. So when we talk about kids, the statistics are somewhat broken up into a couple of different patterns. So in general, when you look at the broad range of kids from like 3 to 17 years of age, the major mental health issues are attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, and it's felt to be about 10% of that population, or about 6 million, they're estimating. And this figure, mind you, is from 2020, so it's not even the latest.
Oh, wow.
Anxiety is the second leading mental health issue, but it's right at about 10% as well in that age group. And then we have the behavioral disorders, which seem to be more rapidly increasing, and those are starting at very early ages, truly the 3 and 4 year olds.
Wow. Well,
very much.
And what do you attribute that to? Those is it something that's always been there and we just never really collected the data, or is it truly an increase?
I think it's truly an increase, and I think part of it is that as families become more busy, have less time to contribute quality family time, that has an impact. We also know that the amount of nurturing that an infant gets in the first several months of life from their moms or from their surrogate mother has a very important role on the development of their mental health going forward.
Wow. That's very fascinating.
Truly. Yeah. And it's something that many people don't even think about or take into consideration. And then single parent families, just lack of support, socioeconomic status amongst a lot of people dropping, that seems to have a positive or unfortunately negative role to play as well. And then family medical history also is contributing as well, so that we're seeing kids with behavioral problems, a parent or both parents had histories of that as well. So as the population is expanding, I think there's an increase secondary to that as well.
Well, and that's really fascinating to me because, you know, there's so many, when you say 10%, I mean, 10%'s a very large number. That's not just, 10 out of 100, that's very large. And whenever we're talking about some of these causes, I think a lot of it, to me, it just is the fact that we're living a double life in a lot of terms in our social media, with our children. We're seeing all of these cool things and we're traveling on private jets, but none of that's really real. And it creates this false fantasy, really, that I'm seeing a lot of children live.
Extreme. Yeah, definitely.
And then what are some of the other causes and contributions, do you think? We know talking about the home, but is school a factor in this too? Some outside interference, or is a lot of it internal in that home life balance?
Home, I think, is the starting point, but once kids get to school, unfortunately, the school environment for a lot of kids has become a very negative place as well. And there's more bullying that I feel is going on these days. Much of it is not reported, but I know just from my experience over the past 10 to 15 years of seeing patients, it's becoming more of an issue, and it seems to be more amongst girls more so than guys, and it just seems that girls are just becoming meaner over time.
That is interesting, because for a while, wasn't it kind of the boys were more of the more aggressive or mean?
I think so, yeah.
Really, this really is.
And girls are becoming more aggressive these days.
Wow. And now, the one thing that parents I feel like have trouble with is because we're with our children so much. Sometimes they chalk it up to maybe it was just a bad day at school, a bad week, or maybe things haven't been the best, or they have some problems in their personal relationships, so there's not a lot of attention being paid to that child at what they're going through. Are there warning signs for this for parents to take an eye out for?
There definitely are, and like in younger kids, an increase in tantrums, a major upward rise in their degree of irritability, sleep issues at night, either not sleeping very well at all, or sleeping way too much, performance at school dropping, grades dropping, not wanting to go to school. That's a major complaint that we frequently will hear. Can
I stop you real quick on
Sure.
that one? Whenever a child says, I don't want to go to school today, or there's, maybe faking sick, or, we all have done I flushed it, you just didn't see, I threw up,
Correct.
Now, for a parent, when you hear that the first time, maybe the initial thought is, all right, get up, you're going to school.
Indeed.
But when you hear that a couple of times, what should that conversation from that parent to that child be? Because you should know at that point, there's something more to this. But what's the best way to have that conversation without making your child feel like we're attacking you and there's something wrong with you?
Right. Basically, things to ask your child would be, well, tell me why you would like to stay home today. Do you have a big test today at school? Is somebody bothering you at school? Questions like that will help the parent try to seek out reasons why or what is going on at school is a reason that their child is not wanting to go.
Really fascinating. And then, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is there other warning signs to look for too on top of that?
Yeah. So in older kids, an expression of, I just don't feel I'm good enough. I'm trying hard, but it just doesn't seem to be working. Also, a change in their friends, meaning like they have decided to not have friends anymore, staying in their rooms much more often, coming home from school, going to bed, not wanting to get up and eat with the family, not wanting to partake in family activities anymore. Parents finding evidence of alcohol or other drug usage, which is something new for them. Poor sleep habits,
and
many things.
What I find fascinating too is when I'm hearing some of those things to look for, like you said, or we said a couple of minutes ago, the first time, it happens, you go, okay, something's up. But a lot of times do parents think, well, this is just them going, if they're adolescent, is this just them going through, the change of puberty? Is that so much of a red herring sometimes, where they see that and go, oh, it's just that, they'll be fine in 2 months?
Yeah, I think if it's a sudden change, it's really something that needs to be paid attention to and looked into.
Man, I'm loving this conversation, Dr. Kathy. We're doing some great work here. It's 10:49. I do got to pay one last bill of the hour, but we'll come back with Dr. Kathy Wollner, Pediatric Healthcare Unlimited, and we learn more about child and adolescent mental health right here on RiverBender.com.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone, and over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry. Talk to me, Dream Team. We've got showing.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior, gear up with Falcommit and elevate your hunting experience. From rugged gear for the seasoned hunter to adorable outfits for the little ones, we've got your whole family covered. Literally, because the best moments are made in the great outdoors. And with Falcommit, you're not just wearing gear, you're wearing the stories of your adventures. Discover the joy of hunting together. Visit Falcommit.com and outfit your family for the next generations of memories.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today. You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
They'd be your partner, they'd be your partner, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you?
We always have a better segment when the microphone's off, you know? 10:52, welcome back to this 14th day of March. It's Pi Day. You know, I'm not a fan of Pi Day. You know, I like Stone Cold Steve Austin Day, you know, 316 Day, love it. You know, as we're getting back to this, Dr. Kathy, it's such an important topic, and whenever I know how busy you are, and so to devote your time, it shows to me that there is a need to get this information out there, and parents do need to know this. And let's just go right back into the list, because you know, we always know about Centerstone and all these other organizations for older adults, but for children, are there very many treatment opportunities out there?
So Centerstone does do pediatric counseling as well. Unfortunately, the wait lists to get in are very long. And unfortunately, as with many mental health agencies, there's a fairly high turnover rate. So a child might be able to see a therapist one time, but then that therapist leaves, and then they have to be reintroduced to a new one, which might be several months before the next counseling session. And typically, counseling sessions should be taking place at least on a weekly basis. But for people who don't have regular commercial health insurance, the wait getting into a mental health agency, Centerstone, Southern Illinois Healthcare Foundation, it's 6 to 9 months.
But that's not even a viable number. I mean, because in 9 months, especially if that individual's really in turmoil, who knows what tomorrow brings, let alone 9 months from now.
Very much. It's extremely, extremely frustrating.
Well, and then on the parent side of things, too, when we're talking specifically for children and adolescents, I mean, that's another 6 to 9 months of just trying to deal with what you can and handle it day by day, and that puts weight on the family.
As well as the school system as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, because they're still having to go to school, and they're, having those issues in that environment, and then putting all others at risk potentially too.
Indeed. Yeah.
Wow. And, in terms of the state, the state of Illinois, what are they doing, in your opinion, to, help the treatment, or maybe help raise awareness, or maybe even help fund some of the treatment of the children and adolescents in this crisis?
So, in 2022, Governor Pritzker created a children's behavioral health transformational evaluation. The results were put out about a year ago, and a plan has been laid out to...
Wow.
It's been laid out. Unfortunately, we are not seeing any of the effects at this point yet. But it's true. Try to provide a more centralized location where parents can go to get mental health support for their children, to increase mental health services, not only with counseling, but with more psychiatric beds, more residential care centers for kids who need more long-term psychiatric care. But I think that's several years off before we're going to see a true realization of that.
Currently, right now, what is the normal procedure for a child? Because I really don't know about this too much.
Okay. To be evaluated, or
the whole to be evaluated, we'll start with that first.
Okay. So all pediatricians are now starting doing the well visits on a yearly basis at age 15. We do a depression questionnaire and truly find out some important data when we do that.
I bet.
Yeah. And so there's screening procedures in place. And then in terms of treatment, counseling is first and foremost. When that's not readily available, we do have some books that we recommend to parents that they can work with their kids. For teenagers who have phones, there's some great apps that help with mindfulness, stress release, that type of thing. But they still don't replace what counseling can provide.
100%.
Yeah. And then there's medications also too. And when we decide when a medication is needed, is when that degree of anxiety or depression or whatever other mental health illness is present at the time. If it's impacting on their daily life of school attendance, job performance, school performance, family interactions, then we oftentimes will recommend medication.
And with that too, the medication, I'm sure whenever you start that process, it could be an up or downhill battle, it seems like, because some medication might work for some and others it might be a different dosage or maybe a different experience. What does that look like as you're trying to figure out what would work best for that individual in terms of medication?
So follow-up, we try to make, and there's guidelines for treatment and follow-up, but initially, if we do start a medication, we'll have them come back in a month, make sure that things are better, make sure that they're definitely not any worse. And a lot of times, parents can start to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And so we might maintain a dose, we might take it up, and then routine follow-up is usually like every 3 months, sometimes closer if needed. And then once someone is stabilized, we space it out to like 4 to 6 months.
Really interesting. And now in terms of, the parents' involvement in this, this is a journey. And you're, walking through this with your son or daughter, whoever.
Right.
Whenever they're on this journey, what are some of the tips that maybe you could provide a parent right now about maybe that positive encouragement with, because sometimes a kid might say, gosh, you've already asked me that. I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Right.
But how important is it to still make sure, hey, I am talking to you because I care about you. I love you. What are some tips that you can provide for that?
So indeed, basically just what you said is very important. Look, I really love you. I care about you. Please don't consider this a nag kind of thing. But just being there for all of their activities, go to their sports events, go to their theater events, try to take them out, do special things with them. Just be a good parent.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of whenever, because I know a lot, and this sounds wild to say, I know a lot of children that are 7, 8 years old that have social media and they have all of these accounts and everything else. To me, I just don't see that as feasible. But for you, you're the professional in this, and I'm just the guy blabbing into this microphone. How important is it, in your opinion, to limit that screen time or maybe limit apps in general? Is that an important issue, or is that just me creating an issue?
No. Apps in general are creating, I think, a major important negative component to mental health. And I would strongly encourage parents to hold off with cell phones, with apps, until maybe high school. I understand that some parents need contact with their kids, so buy them a flip phone that don't have any apps on them.
Yep.
But I've had multiple experiences with patients at 10 and 11 years of age who already had pretty horrific experiences from apps, from sexual connotations to here's a way to kill yourself kind of apps. So parents need to really know what their kids are looking at. And parents think they might have controls on, but there's ways that kids finagle around them. And there's some very disturbing apps that are out there. And then the algorithms that just the general platforms of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat, et cetera, use. Once a child goes and looks perhaps at a depression, or, maybe am I thinking about suicide, then that's what they keep getting fed over and over and over. And it almost just becomes a reality to the kid, like, oh, okay, this is okay.
Is self-diagnosing happening on social media too with children? Because and the way I mean by that, if I need to clarify for the audience, is, sometimes there's folks that talk about maybe a symptom or a disease or an ailment they have, or maybe a mental ailment that they're battling. Do children sometimes watch that and go, oh, I do the same thing and I have that too?
They do, but not very often.
Okay.
That normally is not what brings a kid in to the office.
That's what I was curious about. And I mean, we've been talking for almost 30 minutes now, and I just can't believe how much I've learned about this. And, what's the best way, Dr. Kathy, for parents to learn more information? Is there any websites that you can give them, or any other maybe just URLs, links?
Okay, so the American Academy of Pediatrics has a great website that people can go and get mental help information. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, also has a lot of information on that as well. And then just Googling can get you to some really good sites as well.
Absolutely. And Dr. Kathy, I've loved this conversation. You are welcome back for more of these, because they're so important for the audience to really learn more about, and especially because so many parents don't know what to do. And that's what I'm starting to understand too, is you're meeting with them a lot. Is that kind of the case?
Indeed. Yeah. And I guess the one other thing that I really want to point out to parents is that we look at teenagers as young adults. And that's the group that has the highest rate of suicide. And in fact, between 15 and 19-year-olds, it's the second leading cause of death in that age group, behind automobile accidents. The driving force behind that is that we think of them as young adults, but their reality testing, the center of the brain that's called the precortex area does not fully mature until the early 20s. So reality testing doesn't really come to fruition until sometimes early 20s. And kids, as teenagers, act more on impulse. And when you act on impulse, you end up doing some pretty crazy things sometimes.
100%. And Dr. Kathy, thank you so much for your insights today. And I do want to highlight that I got the best care at Pediatric Healthcare Unlimited over there at 4 Memorial Drive. And you guys do a fantastic job. And I know so many people that still utilize you guys and just can't get enough out of it. And thank you so much for bringing us your insights today.
My pleasure.
With that being said, I'm overtime. Uh-oh. Boss, you're getting charged for another hour. 11:05, that's the time on a Thursday morning, but I'm out of here. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Dr. Kathy. And we'll see you again tomorrow for sports and all the gamut of conversations that are going to be hitting you here in the heart of the 618. On that note, enjoy your day, grab your umbrella, and try your best to stay out of jail.